Welcome to Beverages with Brad. I'm here with EJ Edmonds via satellite. I am mentally drained, EJ Edmonds. I am thinking about talking to you about the world exploding and whatnot, but I'm apprehensive maybe just because I don't publicly get involved in political discussions. I with friends and family, I'll talk about whatever. I don't really care. I feel like I'm a pretty open book. But I don't know. I feel like the whole country is just so tense. I feel like everyone's on edge. Every time I make the mistake of opening Facebook, which I did like when I earlier before we started, people I know and love and friends of mine, they're like heated debating with each other constantly. And everybody sounds so mad all the time. And it's just, not working. And then you got the bat virus, and then you got, police brutality. Then you got the riot. I'm drained, EJ. I don't know. I'm a guy who's neurotic already, and now I'm just tired. What? Tell me what your thoughts are, and I don't even know where to ask you to start. I'm just gonna let you express yourself.
I'm kind of upset. That's where I'm at now. You know what? I'm fucking angry.
Okay.
And this has been happening for so long. I remember we had a talk yesterday, and I said something, and it came off a little bit angry, but I think you got my sentiment. So for the people listening, what he asked me is what needs to happen for everything to be okay. Remember asking me that, Brad?
Vaguely, I remember. I mean, obviously, I don't remember everything we said back and forth. I know we discussed some pretty intense stuff, and I do remember saying and feeling after we hung up that I could legitimately feel the pain in your voice, which knowing you for a while is abnormal because you're the most chill friend I have. So as I try to listen to different views and take all this in, it was moving to me to hear you sound like that. And it meant a lot to me.
It needs to get better. And I think everything that's happening right now is moving that right along. I really do. I think there's been a bigger push than ever for some sort of normalcy for us. I remember telling you, one of the things I always say to you, bro, I'm deathly afraid of cops.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And even your buddy, that's what's his name? Derek.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, good dude.
Really?
I told him, same thing. I don't know, even though I know him and I know he wouldn't shoot me or nothing.
No, sure.
Just the whole facade makes me nervous. The whole cop car.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That whole thing. And that's something that a way that they have us trained. And I think it's really that we need to get out of that mindset, one, but it's really hard to when the shit keeps happening.
I understand that. And specifically referring to my friend, I talked to him.
Shout out to Derek, by the way. Good dude.
Yeah, he's a real good dude, and he's a good cop. And just hearing his perspective a little bit yesterday, because he's been working doubles. I've only been able to talk to him a little bit through text, but he is exhausted, And the first person I talked to when I saw the video of George Floyd being murdered was him. He was the first person I reached out to and sent him the video. I don't know if you've seen this. So, and his response was real fast. He was like, those cops are scumbags,
Yeah, it's just it's a scary day.
It is.
You know me, I have sons. I have daughters, you know what I mean? It's you just worry about my 7-year-old son. When he's a 14-year-old probably riding bikes somewhere with his friends.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? They don't know what I know. They don't know that he's a good kid, that's like phenomenal at soccer, that open doors for ladies. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
They don't know that he's that.
Right.
He's a little hoodlum. And that whole mindset has to change. It's just like there's shitty people on both sides. And I know that's very cliche to say, but not everybody's a bad person. Bad people do exist. But also I don't feel like they need to be shot dead in the street or fucking have their neck stepped on either. There's a process for that.
Yeah, yeah. I
And
mean, the good news is, even though I see a lot of arguing, fortunately, I have yet to hear anybody defend that bullshit. I haven't heard anybody not say that that was an absolute disgusting, blatant murder. Like, that's, I would think any reasonable person on earth can agree that that was like egregious.
it made me sick to my stomach watching it. It made me sick to my stomach. And shout out to whoever it was that recorded that recorded that, and at least um you know, got this out there for us to see, because it started something that might change the way that might change the world. It's a very scary situation, and I'm really glad that we're starting to have that progress. Like I'm out here in Morgantown, West Virginia, and like me and my stepdaughter, we went and protested with them day before yesterday.
Okay, how was it? How was it when you guys went to that? As far as was it peaceful? Was anybody doing anything crazy or?
No, no. It's a little bit of a different vibe here than it is in some places. But I mean, you're still aware that this issue exists.
Mhm.
It was very powerful to see those people who aren't necessarily lawmakers or something standing up, unifying, and making a change. I think that's pretty dope.
I'm happy to see that, or even like, all right, so I actually, in some ways, have mixed feelings about what happened in Providence last night.
Mm.
So I'm really thankful that there was thousands of people in downtown Providence last night. I am very thankful that it was peaceful, because a couple nights ago was chaos down there. So I'm really glad it was peaceful. The mixed emotions I have about it, I guess the negative, I would say, and I know a lot of people feel this way, is I believe 100% it's your constitutional right to protest. I'm all for it. What I don't understand is a governor telling me and a lot of other people I can't go to work. I can't work. A couple, like a month ago, if somebody I love died, I couldn't go to their funeral. I can't. I went to a wake 2 nights ago. Everything's super restricted. Only 10 people in at a time. You get to stay away from the family. There's a rope. But then I see the same governor encouraging thousands of people to protest, and she was there holding hands with them with her no mask on. And look, I don't have a problem with that. I think it's good that the community's coming together, but I feel like there's a lot of hypocrisy, and I think that I feel like you should have the right to protest, but I also feel like you should have the right to work and provide for your family, and you should have the right to go to a funeral if someone you love died. I feel like she kind of flipped off a bunch of people who are out of work and lost their business. Look, I know that my job and my shit isn't that important, but there are people who are really struggling and have lost their business. Like, a lot of people are unemployed in this country right now. And we're told over and over again, yeah, I know you'd like to be at your funeral. I know if your wife is dying, you'd like to be at her bedside. But I'm sorry, it's not safe to be around people. And then you see the same person on TV next to like 10,000 people holding hands with no mask on. It's like, all right, that's kind of a dig.
So I mean, from that standpoint, if it's there's shit going around still,
right?
Like these two like life altering things are happening at the same damn time.
I just want you to, I guess, expound more on your feelings in regards to having a fear of the police. And you rightfully told me, Brad, you don't understand. So talk to me. Help me understand. Explain your personal experiences and your mindset.
Okay, first, like and this is just me talking to one of my white friends. Um, how many of those videos have you watched? And there's a lot of them of cops killing black men.
Um,
How many of those have you watched? And how many of those have you said that could be somebody in my family? How many times have you honestly said that when you saw that? That could be me.
right, right. No, of course I didn't say that could be me or my family. I have watched, I mean, I don't have a count, quite a few of them. I remember specifically the one a few years back in New York with the big black dude that the cop choked to death.
Eric
Uh,
Garner, yes.
I also follow Chuck D on Instagram, so I think
Hmm.
that alone means I've seen a lot. Um,
Yeah.
but you're right. I don't look at it and think, that could be like my cousin or something. Uh, but obviously, it bothers me. That video with George Floyd was really hard to watch and disturbing. And even on a technical level, with my jujitsu background, a lot of jujitsu chokes are on the side there at the carotid. So when he had his shin and his knee there, I'm like, oh man, that's a choke right there. You know what I mean? And I'm watching it, and he's saying, I can't breathe. And I'm like, the guy's still got his fucking foot. He's still got his knee there. Like, what are you doing? Like, he's down. He's handcuffed. You got multiple cops. Like, this is under control. Let the fucking guy go. And then, again, from jujitsu, I know that when you choke someone unconscious, because it happens in class sometimes, guys have an ego they don't want to tap, and they go unconscious. And as long as you just let the person go once they're unconscious, they're going to be okay. It happens from time to time.
Mm.
This motherfucker keeps going and go. That I'm like, you're killing him. You're killing this guy. I'm like, what am I watching right now? I'm like, you are killing. What? You can't choke somebody after they're unconscious. That's killing them. I'm like, this is crazy. So I know I'm going off on a tangent, but
No, I mean it's fine, but and you know what you have to think about. What did it take for him to get prosecuted for murder, like he fucking did? What did it take? We had
well,
to go out
so
into the streets, and we had to be heard.
so yeah, all right. So I wanted to get into a little bit of this with you too. So and yeah, it was like just mixed feelings. I was really happy when when they upped the charges. You know what I mean? From third to second degree murder, and and did they charge the other police? I was happy about that, but I was also like, I really hope this doesn't make people feel like if they want justice, they have to throw bricks off the highway. Dude, there were people throwing bricks off the overpass on 295 a few nights ago. And I'm thinking my mother-in-law could be driving down that road and get killed by a brick. And how does that honor George Floyd? How does that help anybody? How does that bring justice? Or even like looking at David, I forgot his last name, the retired police officer, an African American in St. Louis, was shot to death, helping with security for the riots. And I'm thinking, so how does it honor George Floyd to shoot an African American police officer to death at a pawn shop? So for me, I'm like, I really hope that, and again, I was encouraged that last night the protest was peaceful in Providence. I was very encouraged by that. But I'm like, the violence and the just random destroying buildings, just lighting buildings on fire, throwing bricks off the highway. I'm like, I really hope that people aren't thinking, well, okay, that's the key. When things go sideways, we throw bricks off the highway and light everyone on fire. Like, I really hope that that's not the way. You know what I mean?
Yeah. With that, I'm by no means saying that this is the thing you need to do. You need to be heard. I don't feel like we need to burn our communities down to do that. However, I will say that what you witnessed, I mean, obviously you witnessed just some jackasses that just wanted to raise hell. But you
Yeah,
also witnessed some really hurt, really pissed off people who don't have answers to
mhm,
questions that concern their lives.
mhm. Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're looking at
Well,
this whole force of people that run that city, and you're nervous of them.
right.
Like it's just it's we tried everything else.
Hmm.
That's the best way to put it. And I'm not saying that it's right that people do that, because there's way better ways of doing things than burning down your city. You know what I mean? Get more involved and I never thought I'd be the guy talking like this, but vote
Hmm. Well, if it,
on that scale. That shit does matter.
that's why I loved, and I thought would help things calm down a bit, is I loved what George Floyd's brother and sister had said. That's the type of thing they said to do. They said burning down your community isn't going to bring our brother justice. And they did say vote. Um, so, and yeah, and again, I realized that the anger is justified and the frustration is justified. I realized that. I just, again, like I said, look, the bottom line is a lot of black people were hurt, some killed by the riots. I mean that's pretty counterproductive.
Right. And I, like, you know what I'm saying? We're family. You're my guy.
Mm,
But the cops don't see us as, we're not family to them.
mm,
Did you see there was a video and I watched it and it really, really made me mad too? This was a while ago. It was where they had a white dude walking down the street, open carrying an assault rifle.
okay,
And they had a black dude walking down the street, openly carrying an assault rifle.
I did not
All
see that
right.
visual.
Yeah, the white dude, the cops, they stopped him. They pulled up to him and they sit and shot the shit with him about what kind of gun it was.
Hmm.
They tackled the black dude right away.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
How about you personally? Have you had, because I know you seem like you've had a fear of the police for a long time. Where did that originate for you personally?
You just keep seeing the same shit. It's I've been lucky enough to not have, you know, anybody in my family be affected by or be murdered by police, but I've seen it enough.
Hmm. Have you?
And
I mean, how much time? Like, I mean, do you have any like friends that you've hung out with and stuff that are in law enforcement? I mean, I know you're a military guy, so I know you've been in with a lot of different military dudes.
yeah, one of my buddies from the Marines is a police officer now.
Do you talk to him
Talked to
about
him
this
a couple
shit?
weeks ago. I haven't talked to him about this. I'd love to sit down and have a conversation with him.
Hmm.
I would.
Hmm.
And that's something I was just thinking about yesterday. I'd love to sit down and have a conversation with him and just see um, where his head is in all of this.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, some cops are scared for their lives too. Every time those cops see those protester signs, they
Hmm.
know shit could get ugly, right? Every time black people see blue lights, they know shit can get ugly.
Yeah.
I just think that whole mindset needs to change, and I think we need to push forward in what we're doing right now. I do.
I feel like communication, like everything else in life, I guess communication is key. Conversations like this, conversations with law enforcement, with the black community, with just people in general. I don't know.
Yeah,
Like I said at the beginning of this, it just saddens me to see all that like just I just feel like there's so much tension in America right now, and it's like heavy, you know. I gotta like
yeah,
stay off Facebook. Every time I go on there, I'm just like exhausted.
it is. I mean, I think it's like it's a double-edged sword, because after a while, like, that's all you see. So there's nothing else there to take your mind off it anymore at this point. Like,
Yeah,
everything is there. Um, but I mean, on the same note, it's good that it's getting said. Like, you know what I mean? It's good that these things are happening. It's good that people are now using their voices.
but like I said, there are things that I see as positives. Like I see the fact that we're having a conversation like this, a positive. Peace, last night's thing was peaceful. That's a positive. You're right. I do think issues should be discussed and not just swept under the rug. I think that's a positive. And I just think that people, well, look, with my philosophical or in theological viewpoints, I believe that people are fucked up. All of us. We're all fucked up. So obviously the levels of that fucked upness varies from person to person. So I think that, you know, there are people that are going to go out and protest, and they have the right intentions, and they're going to do it right. There are people who are looking for an excuse to smash some shit up like the Joker and light things on fire. They're going to do it wrong. I think that there are police, you know, like Derek, that have good intentions and aren't racist, and do want to be helpful. And then there are cops that are pieces of shit that you take any group of people, fucking Target employees, whatever. There's gonna be some people that are bad and some that aren't. But like Chris Rock's joke pointed out, when it's a group of people that have guns, that when there's, even if there's only a few bad apples, that's some scary shit. I think his joke was like comparing them to like airline pilots. We get a few bad apples that like to fly in the mountains, but most of our pilots like to safely land. It was something like that. I saw his like joke. I forgot exactly how it went, but I got the point. You know what I mean? That I do think you take any group of people, just select 10 random people off the street of all different races. Chances are a few of them are going to be assholes. But yeah, it does take on a different level of danger when those assholes are walking around with batons and guns and handcuffs.
And they get to kill us and go free. Dude, do you know how this is the time we're in right now? They literally aired a cop murdering a black man on the news for everybody to watch.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That needs to stop. I get that they're assholes. I know all cops aren't bad. Shout out there to all of my good cops that are trying to help. You know what I mean? But there's no room. There's not much room for error with that at all.
Yeah.
When you have lives at stake like that.
I like to think that I try to see people just as people. And I was listening recently to a doctor that was on Joe Rogan. I listen to Joe Rogan a lot. And like, she was talking about vitamin D and the importance of vitamin D and the different, how important, especially with something like coronavirus, like most of the people who have died had vitamin D deficiency. But she was explaining, like they were talking about, and it seems like common sense, but I never really thought about it. But that, like, you know, Africans living in that hot sun, over time, their skin became darker to protect them from the sun. And then that's why people in like Ireland, where it's overcast, it's usually cloudy, it's not a lot of sun, are very pale because their bodies are able to absorb the little bit of sun quicker. That's why they get burnt so fast. But they need that vitamin D, so their skin literally has, over whatever thousands of years, become pale, so that less sun gives them more vitamin D. And then Africans are darker to protect them because the sun's so intense. And the more I'm listening to this, the more I'm thinking, man, we're just one people. We're just humans. We're human beings that over time, or how God has created us to protect our bodies or help our bodies, however, with this vitamin D and the sun, it really just makes you think we're really just all the same. We're all the same. You know what I mean? Some people grew up in a different climate, and their bodies are designed to you know, thrive or survive in that climate. And when you look at it that way, you realize we're all just the same people. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it just makes racism seem so stupid.
We just need certain people to start seeing that too, because it's, believe it or not, there's just a lot of people that don't see it that way. Yeah, it's just a lot of people who don't see it like you. And shout out to you for doing this, donating some of your time to, you know, shedding some light on the situation. I appreciate you for that. Okay. And I know I usually shit on you about stuff, but this is something I felt like needed to happen, and I'm glad it did.
Well, I love you,
Um,
man. I appreciate the talk.
yeah, everybody don't fucking stay silent. Say something. You know what I mean? Um, it's not like the people, the black people are asking for much. Just treat us the same. That's it. Like, you know what I mean? That's it.
I think that's reasonable.
Yeah.
All right, EJ Edmonds, I'm going to hit stop on the old record. Thanks for tuning in to Beverages with Brad. If you've watched this, if you enjoyed it, share it with somebody. If you didn't enjoy it, I don't know what to tell you.